Hey, let's get hashtag woke pope trending. It will infuriate all the right people. 166600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Other countries are so jealous we got an American pope when we already have the Antichrist. I mean, we did need to get an American to perform an exorcism on him. The new pope doesn't seem to be a fan of the regime either. Good. I mean, of course he's against the regime, cause he's looked at the Bible. 3 stages of a Trump crisis. 1. Create the crisis. 2. Give up. And 3. Claim victory. We are on step 2 of the second Trump trade fiasco. China should open up its market to the United States, would be so good for them, closed markets don't work anymore. Meanwhile, this guy was literally pushing for a closed market a couple of weeks ago. But no, of course he's not hypocritical. In New York, ICE detained a busload of farm workers that were actively involved in a union drive. In Washington state, ICE dragged a farm workers' rights activist and leader out of his car to detain him. Be warned, attacking unions is a hallmark of fascism. And I mean, of course the multi-billionaire that's renowned for exploiting people would be against unions. And it makes even more sense why billionaires like Elon Musk who have done the exact same thing would support him. I don't know what is funniest, the fact that their y-axis goes up to 120%, them not being able to sort the dates properly, or the approval rating that would make Kim Jong-un blush. See, their sample set definitely isn't people who approve of Donald Trump. Nope, not at all, of course not. It's probably exclusively from registered Republicans who physically attended CPAC but aren't journalists. The sample set is people who are in Donald Trump's bathroom. Yep, that one. This post is such a rich text. Trump is clearly making it up as he goes, there's no plan. 2. He barely knows what's happening in his own administration. And 3. Posting something like this publicly speaks to the complete decision-making dysfunction that we also see in Signal Gain. 80% tariff on China seems right, up to Scott B. Democrats are furious that we want to permanently rename the Gulf of America, but they have no problem renaming military bases and tearing down statues of Lincoln and Washington. They don't hate the name, they just hate America. We aren't furious. We just think it's stupid and makes us look like clowns to the world again. It's also pathetic that this is the only thing House Republicans are doing today, besides blaming Biden for stuff on Fox News. And another post to show the peak intelligence of MAGA politicians. Spotted in Austin, all-gender restroom, on a recent trip to Texas. No, there are only 2. Hold the line, biology isn't bigotry. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. So this is a single occupancy toilet, which is a lockable door. These are also known as disabled toilets in the United States, where they are also typically gender neutral due to being a single stall with a lockable door. I mean, knowing the peak intelligence of MAGA, they probably thought that all gender was a gender. Republicans want to make America great again by bringing back measles, Nazis, and economic depression. And speaking of, hey, if you like vaccines and not catching measles, you should totally press the subscribe button, because according to YouTube statistics, most of you guys aren't. So if you want to support this gay guy reading stuff, you should totally press it. Time to play a game of Spot the Difference. I don't know about you, but they look pretty identical. I knew Pope Leo XIV was a G. Well, he seems like the man for the Wait, what's that? Oh god, no. Scary thing is, Trump might actually believe this. I mean, he claims that Kilmar explicitly had MS-13 tattooed on his hand, and the image showing it was not altered in any way. Still really annoying that the reporter chose the whole agree to disagree angle, instead of pulling out a copy and saying, "Are you telling me, Mr. President of America, who makes several judgment calls a day that affect the fate of our nation, that the letters MS and the numbers 1 and 3 on this image you showed to claim a man was a gang member are actually inked to his hand and not superimposed in some way? Because that is what you're claiming right now." He pretty much displayed that to anyone with half a brain cell, but unfortunately his fans seem to lack the prerequisite. Now this is how really strong leaders do it. Breaking news, European leaders have issued a ceasefire ultimatum to Putin. Either he negotiates an end to the war, or Europe will unleash massive sanctions against Russia and supply Ukraine devastating weapons. Putin has 36 hours to respond. See, no, that is nothing compared to what Trump did. Trump tried with his "Vladimir, stop" tweet, and that's about as much leadership as he is capable of. And even then, he's still gonna say he stopped it. 100% can see this happen. Or if it doesn't, blame the Dems, probably Hunter Biden. A man pulled up to a gas station to fill up his truck. ICE agents surrounded him and took him away, but his children were left behind. It takes effort and intention to be this malicious. Their conduct shames decent law enforcement officers everywhere. Their cruelty shames America. Without due process, this can pretty much happen to anyone at any time. But MAGA? No, because I'm a patriotic citizen. Yeah, when do you get to show that? In court? But wait, what's that process called again? I feel like they don't even know what due process means, probably thinking it's giving them something like 5 minutes to run before ICE runs after them or something. Yeah, they don't. There's a bunch claiming that the January 6th offenders did not receive due process. It means I get to go free and they get to go to jail forever. Every accusation is an admission. Cowards! DHS confirms to Axios that they're considering arresting Reps Bonnie Watson-Coleman, LaMonica McIlva, and Robert Menendez. Arresting the opposite political party's members. Where have I heard that before, huh? Members of Congress have legal authority to enter ICE and CBP facilities. Agents are legally required to allow them entry. The people who should be facing consequences are those who laid hands on them to disrupt oversight. Perhaps that's why ICE agents are hiding their faces. It wasn't long ago that these same people were calling ISIS and others cowards for hiding their faces, and now these assholes are doing the same. They are all cowards. Can't spell cowardice without ICE. I guarantee that these ICE agents were anti-maskers during the pandemic. It is a perfect circle. Texas militia members were the people that burned down the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis. Was in the news for maybe 6 hours, even on local Twin City stations after sentencing. Never even heard about that part until after sentencing. Even local news can be biased as fuck. Homan's grandfather and his father were cops. He was a cop. He has a degree in criminal justice. He knows that he's breaking the law. The excuse that he's just following orders is bullshit. An unlawful order does not authorize him to break the law. Homan is culpable and one day will be held accountable. Yeah, what happens to being required not to follow unlawful orders? Yeah, so much for the people waving around that they were the patriots and defenders of the Constitution. The irony is outstanding. Thomas Thorman, the acting ICE director, told Tucker Carlson that he objects to being compared to Nazis because ICE is simply following orders. Following orders would be absurd enough if it were true, but they were also his orders. He owns this policy as much as anyone else in the administration, including the president. He campaigned with Trump, he pitched Trump's deportation plan to voters, and when Trump was elected, he stepped in to execute the plan. He is not a cog in the machine, he is an architect of the machine. Well, if he doesn't want to be compared to Nazis, he should stop acting like a Nazi. Having his agents snatch immigrants off the streets is Nazi behavior. I was just following orders, is a defense many Nazi soldiers gave at the Nuremberg trials after the Second World War. It didn't work there, and those soldiers were imprisoned or hanged for their crimes against humanity they committed during the war. It didn't work for them, and when these people are tried for what they're doing now, hopefully soon enough, it won't help then, hopefully. President Trump's special envoy did not employ his own interpreter during 3 meetings with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, opting instead to rely on translators from the Kremlin. A US official and 2 Western officials tell NBC News. Putin and the rest of the world continuing to laugh at these bumbling fools. Trump's as lazy as he is stupid. That's quite a cage match for dominance. I mean, it worked the first time. It was only talked in the news for like 2 to 3 days top. What would be so different now? Trump trusts his boss to supply the interpreter because he'd prefer Americans didn't know what they're discussing. One day, when they start indicting these fools, likely won't happen though, because these boobs aren't keeping comprehensive records like the Reich did so well. So, Nazis, yeah, but lazy ones. So we're threatening a sitting member of Congress. Trump is cashing in on his presidency and is making millions from his own crypto coins. It is corruption in broad daylight. I'm co-sponsoring a bill to make it illegal for the president, the vice president, administration officials, and members of Congress to issue, sponsor, or endorse crypto assets for profit. It is time to put a stop to this. The Senator Mark Kelly is cashing in on his US Senate seat as a partner in a Chinese communist company that makes surveillance balloons. He should be charged with treason and, if convicted, executed consistent with federal law. So this is your response to him wanting to get rid of corruption in the government. Yeah, you guys seem really sane. By the way, this has been a long, ongoing process of normalizing violence against political opponents. Once upon a time, this would be making national news, total commendation from all sides. Today, it probably won't get much attention. Edit, but the right people will be seeing this though. If someone did this to a MAGA politician though, maggots would flip shit over this. It's the blatant hypocrisy that annoys me, and knowing that so many unhinged maggots might harm someone based on lunatics saying shit like this that scares me. Do y'all remember what happened to Kathy Griffin when she did the fake Trump head? No need to worry, Bondi just concluded the investigations and said there's nothing to prosecute. Nor should she if anyone threatened a member of the opposition Congress. Probably a headline you'll see in the coming 24 hours. Are we winning yet? Hey, President Oompa Loompa, show me some winning. So, let me get this straight. Trump said he negotiated a ceasefire between Pakistan and India. India then said the US didn't play a role whatsoever. Now, just 4 hours after the agreement, the ceasefire was violated by both sides in the Kashmir province. Yeah, the art of the deal, right? I've trained thousands of soldiers, Transman says, stunned at being let go in the military. Nick, a transgender man on TikTok, is going viral today after his video shows the impact of the trans military ban on his 18-year career. I've said this before and I'll say it again, trans rights are human rights, and I will personally say fuck you to anyone else who doesn't think that. POTUS, piece of totally useless shit. He's actually FLOTUS, fucking loser of the United States. Nah, that's Elon. All those Republicans and not one spine. Rolling Stone reached out to all 53 GOP senators after the president said he didn't know whether or not he needs to honor the nation's founding document. And none replied. Like I said again, so much for being pro-freedom and pro-constitution. And something that gives me a lot of hope about the economy, Costco now offers buy now, pay later for online orders. Nothing says booming economy like needing monthly installments for bulk toilet paper, canned beans, and a rotisserie chicken. It is a brutal warning sign when working people have to finance their survival. Basic needs are now a financed luxury. Marlon Paris is an Iraq war vet who has been a lawful US resident for years, and the regime wants to deport him. Dear American veterans, Trump laughs at you and doesn't give a shit. He's been telling you that since he ridiculed McCain. Wake the fuck up. Yes, because again, no surprise, the fucking draft dodger doesn't care about veterans. So much for having bone spurs on his medical report, huh? Unbelievable. It is sickening. It's like they did manage to microchip people and remove all compassion, empathy, sympathy, love and tolerance from this large part of the population. Yeah, no microchip was needed. We've just been raising half of our voting population to think it's okay to fly the Confederate flag. That's more effective than any microchip. Only one way to get that kind of approval rating. 99% approval. Yeah, that's what happens when you poll a Klan rally. Up next, Trump doesn't shit and personally wrote the Constitution. If your results don't add up to 100%, give or take 1 for rounding error, then you're just showing that you made it up. Worry not, because the y-axis goes up to 120% for some reason. Because the fascists are actively flooding the zone with bullshit, making up whatever they can to trick the American population into believing they're the majority. Silencing the opposition like a true dictator. The administration has arrested a judge in Wyoming and a mayor in New Jersey, and is threatening to arrest federal lawmakers. In any other country, we would say the strongman security forces are locking up political opponents. So yes, we need to treat it exactly that way here. You guys should stop calling them cops and call them what they are. Internal security forces. Gestapo, y'all. The GOP is a fucking pan-crank movement. The latest pick for Surgeon General seems to echo the New Thought movement. Perhaps the body is simply the material radio receiver from which we can tune into the divine. Humans are out of alignment with Earth and depleting its life force. Trump's new Surgeon General pick wants to raise the vibration of humanity. And up next, we're going to predict political futures with the chicken bones. The bones tell us everything, guys. This is so funny. For my entire youth, conservatives made fun of liberal quacks, and now... I saw a whole theory a while back about how that shift happened. Doctors are being replaced by hippie vibe doctors, and it's pretty much all because of anti-intellectualism. Dumb people require easily understandable solutions to complex problems. It got way worse during COVID, and that was because the government was the one suggesting medical advice, and conservatives are anti-government and those vibe doctors were anti-basic medical fact, so they found themselves on the same side and just stuck with each other. COVID really broke the brains of millions of people. It fucked up a whole generation of kids who never recovered. A lot of that generation ended up turning more conservative since they felt like the government failed them. But hopefully now they learn that someone who claims small government but sets up a camera in your bedroom isn't looking out for your best interests. It is really the dumbest of all possible timelines. Spotify and SoundCloud and other high-tech platforms have worked to remove a song from Ye that praises Adolf Hitler. But the song and its video have continued to proliferate online, including across X, where it has racked up millions of views. That man is profoundly mentally ill. He's clearly never heard the saying, tokens get spent. Man, a lot of people are, or at least in desperate need of conversations with professionals or people that love them. So many broken people just working overtime to hurt others in turn. The Pope actually chose the name Leo because of the concerns about AI. Confirmed. During the meal, Cardinal Chomolai asked the new Pope why he chose the name Leo XIV. He told me he is very concerned about the cultural shifts we are living through. A Copernican revolution, really. Artificial intelligence, robotics, human relationships, the prelate said. He was inspired by Leo XIII, who in the midst of the Industrial Revolution wrote Rerum Novarum, launching an important dialogue between the Church and the modern world. The new Pope believes the Church has a vital role to play in the movement of perplexity. Cardinal Chomolai added, "There is a revolution happening, and it must be addressed seriously. The Church can contribute through its moral authority and also its academic strength." Trump did this because he can't read. Reporter, the president fired the Librarian of Congress. Why? 11. There were quite concerning things she had done in the Library of Congress in the pursuit of DEI and putting inappropriate books in the library for children. Just a heads up, in conservative talk, inappropriate books is basically anything to do with the LGBTQ community. And yeah, history does repeat itself. We're back at book burning. Or book banning, more like. Ah yes, all those kids pursuing the shelves at the Library of Congress. I've been there, bro. Literally millions of toddlers checking out books on how to do bottom surgery at home. I thought they got the surgery at school. Nah, those particular titles are for the homeschoolers. And some good news to finish off the video. Today, I'm going to butcher this name, I'm so sorry. Rumyesa Ozturk. Again, I'm so sorry, I guarantee I butchered that name, I'm really bad at pronouncing things. Was released on bail from ICE detention in Louisiana, and she will return to New England to continue her studies. This is a big win, but we will keep fighting until Mahmoud Kali, Dr. Badar Kansuri, and all the people who were being detained by the Trump administration for their protected speech are freed permanently. So the US lost a scholar along with the work she was doing and all the potential financial benefits that could have come with it? What a great businessman our president is. The US has lost most future foreign scholars, tourists and entrepreneurs. Why take the risk at a hostile country when there are better choices elsewhere? This is a multi-generational end to the American dream. Welcome to the American nightmare, where the Dark Ages return to the once began of light. In the information age, a country's quick turn to fascism is noted at near light speed. Serious students, business entrepreneurs and scientists will be the first to avoid a pariah stain. The American brain drain has been underway for at least a few months since the election. The results of the election also reflect what propaganda is capable of in this information-disinformation age. This will not make America great, except obviously for the 1%, but just temporarily. Our already contracting economy is an excellent example of the negative outcomes an intellectually deficient authoritarian's bully methods will yield. We have lost honour and credibility as a country that will take a lot of time and work to regain.